Hello and welcome. This video is going to be a little different. I'll just be probably running around the map, grabbing resources, messing around, and I'll be talking about what I think of Grounded 2 and the news we currently have of it. So, I'll start with the fact that it looks like Grounded 1, which is a very good thing. They're not making any drastic changes to the art style or making it seem like an entirely different game, like a lot of big game studios do when they release a sequel. I'm very happy that it does still look like the same game we know and love. Another thing is, I did say this in the last video, my computer won't technically be able to run it. My PC specs are below minimum, but with tweaks, it will probably be fine. I've had a chat with some people who are into IT, and it should be pretty fine. It just won't be looking incredible. So, you were very spicy. Oh, I'm still in New Game 3. It's fine then. It's fine. I won't get one hit. Speaking of, I'll turn that back up. Anyway, something that I find cool is the new weapon. Goodness, my throat is actually dying. I apologize. I recovered from my cold, but I still have a cough and like phlegm, which is very unpleasant, and it's just not going away, which I'm not very happy about. So I apologize if I'm clearing my throat a lot in this video. One thing that I did find very interesting that I'm excited for is the new weapon and armor archetypes that are they're leaning heavily into actual like classes as opposed to just different builds. But they are keeping true to grounded nature of you are still able to experiment and mix and match to create a build that suits you. They're just giving a bit more guidance, which will be good for new players. If you're like not quite sure what to do, what to play, they'll give you more guidance as to what a good playstyle for you is, which is going to be very good. I haven't listed as with last episode because I would not be able to just ad-lib all of this. Something that I do hope they have is, if anyone's ever played Terraria, there is a thing in that with cosmetic armor that you can wear that doesn't, you have to make the armor, and it doesn't give you any bonuses if you put it in cosmetic slot, but it just looks like you're wearing it. But you can wear a different type of armor that you also have to craft. So you have to craft both sets, and it's basically just one, you'll get to look like you're wearing one set, which I hope they'll do with Grounded 2, specifically because the Fire Ant set looks incredible. Like that set alone is giving me more hype for the game. I'm very excited to be playing with that set. Hopefully they'll add the cosmetics so that you're able to mix and match looks even with different builds, because this is a very weird looking setup. I would have preferred to be like wearing different armor for aesthetics, but I mean, there is no cosmetics in this game, so hopefully they'll have something like that in Grounded 2, which would be pretty cool. What's next? Bosses. So for some of the bosses that they've already announced, there's the Tarantula, which is probably going to be a boss, which will be terrifying. That'll be horrifyingly massive. Tarantulas are one of the largest spider in the world. Depends on the type, actually. I wonder what type of tarantula it'll be. If it's like going to be the bird-eating one. They probably wouldn't even be able to add the bird-eating tarantula now that I'm thinking about it, because it's just too large. So Tarantula boss is going to be terrifying. There's also the Mysterious Stranger, which people are saying is probably going to be some form of boss, which is interesting. Is it going to be like an Omninant worker or something? Or Omninant's the good guys, apparently, in this one. So there's a lot of lore speculations. I am just excited for the gameplay. I'm not too fussed about the lore. I am excited to learn more, but the gameplay just looks really fun. So the Mysterious Stranger is an interesting ad that I'm not sure about. Could be a person, could be kind of like the Mant, maybe. Also, because I'm pretty sure Obsidian made Fallout New Vegas, did they not? And that had the mysterious stranger in it, so it's probably a reference to Fallout. That's a very spicy enemy. Another thing is some bosses that I would like to see. Maybe some form of centipede would be really cool. Like a really long enemy. And I think C Dinky in his video talking about it, he said it would be cool if you had to, like, instead of just going to a specific spot and spawning it, you had to, like, track it down, and you had to, like, follow tremors underground to unearth it and then fight it. That would have been a sick concept. How are you you're still chasing me? Buddy, calm down. Take a chill pill. Oh, come on. There we go. I'm not even gonna harvest your remains. Take that. So it would be really cool if you had to, like, hunt it down and search for it underground before fighting it. And then if it, like, only half of it came out of the ground at each time, and so you could be, like, blindsided by its tail or something. Would have also been... would be an absolutely horrifying boss, because centipedes are disgusting in a, like, morbidly cool way. And depending on the type, it could be either a relatively small-ish to large boss, or a colossal boss. If it's something like the giant Asian centipede, would have been horrifying. I keep saying would have been, even though it's not out yet. Another cool thing would have been, I think C-Dinky also mentioned this, is Trapdoor Spider. And it wouldn't be... Same thing with sort of the... centipede, is you wouldn't just go to a spot and summon it. It would be like a surprise boss that you would be jumped by, and you'd, like, fall into its lair. And then I thought of a really cool concept that Dinky might have mentioned it. I haven't watched that video in a while. I'm stealing a lot of ideas, and I apologize for that. But if it was, like, really, really dark in the arena when you fell down into it, and so you wouldn't be able to see the boss unless you had a torch, and it would just, like, scuttle in and out of view, although that is not the button I wanted to press. The arachnophobic player base is probably already crying that there's a tarantula. So maybe not the best idea if it's, like, really arachnophobic with, like, having it only in view some of the time and you just be able to hear it scuttling in the background, which would be really cool, but disgusting and horrifying. Another thing is if they re-added the lizard, that, if you didn't know, there was a cut boss for Grounded 1 that was going to be in the sandpit, which was a lizard, and it even had, like, a placeholder. Actually, I don't think it was even placeholder. They had, like, a full model for it and animations and everything, so it was cut, like, last minute before they added it, which is really sad because it would have been really cool. We have basically zero. I don't think there's a single non-insect enemy in the game at the moment, but in Grounded 2 there's going to be, like, snails and stuff, which count as non-insect enemies, barely. So something that Grounded 1 could have played into is having a bunch of insects, but also a couple non-insect enemies that are a lot harder, like bosses. Like the lizard would have been, like, really tanky and would have been hard to kill, but it also would have been not made a lot of sense because it would have been a tiny lizard relatively to the players. So it wouldn't, I guess, I don't know why they cut it, but it could have been something to do with, like, lizards not being that small on average. So if they made, like, a full-size lizard boss, it would be probably too big. Another thing I've heard a lot of people talking about is how they want to, like, somehow incorporate Australian enemies, like Australian bugs, into Grounded 2, because that'd be cool. As an Australian, you don't want that, trust me. Also, it just really wouldn't make sense, because the game's set in America. Can you perfect parry that attack, by the way? That dust attack. I don't think you can. Let me know if you know. It annoys me a lot that you can't parry it. Anyway, you do not want to fight Australian bugs. I guess, like, because with the new pneumatic tube system that they're talking about with, like, going inside of Burgle, you'd be able to, like, maybe potential for future DLCs of, like, you get to go to a museum or something, or like an insect exhibition, and get to fight Australian enemies. Yeah, that's okay. That's not good enough though. Oop. So I guess you could work it into, like, being able to go through to a different, maybe like a Australian insect exhibition of some sort and get to fight Australian insects, but honestly that makes even less sense than a lizard, because something like, people were saying Newcastle Big Boy would be a sick boss, which is the deadliest spider in the world. It's a supersized version of the Sydney funnel web, and it's massive. It's like twice the size of the broodmother, relatively, I think, something like that. It's like 4 inches long, which I don't know how long that is because I'm Australian, I use metric. But I'm pretty sure it's something like 4 inches. So if you're American, you'll probably know the size of that, and then maybe relatively know the size of the broodmother. So it would be a very big spider, and a single bite would just kill you. Like, it wouldn't make sense to fight it, because there's no amount of poison resistance or something that will save you from the Newcastle Big Boy, especially at this size, being so small. You would just die instantly. It would be an almost instant paralyzation and just death. You would not survive at all. And if they wanted to make it realistic, I guess they could add, like, a really high damaging DOT, but there's no way you can make it realistic and make it so you survive a single attack. So probably the less dangerous enemies, or less dangerous insects in Australia as enemies, because some of the more dangerous just would not make sense for you to be able to survive. Australian insects are no joke. Another cool one I saw was green ants, which are also Australian. Which would be interesting because they're like, they don't sting, they bite, but their bite is poisonous or venomous. So it'd be like, I butchered that parrying them. I suck. Anyway, the green ants would be like, they don't sting you, but they bite you and they apply poison, which would be cool. It's like a poisonous ant, which we don't have. We only have in Grounded 1 3 different types of ants, and the only one that applies DOT is these guys, and they only do it because they shoot acid at you. Another thing that they could do is, could sort my notes, is they could add potentially a optional, like, super boss, like the infected broodmother was for Grounded, except it would be even harder. It'd be like the Any Radiance of Grounded, if you've ever seen Hollow Knight gameplay. It would be the Crow, which I would find really cool, because it'd be less a boss, and it would feel more like you're fighting a force of nature. Granted, it also doesn't make sense, because it's just too massive to fight, but I've been thinking a lot about the boss potential of it, and it would be like, you fight it in an arena that slowly gets broken down from its attacks, and with the new combat system, without, no longer has, like, it still has, like, parrying and stuff, but it also has dashing, and so you could work that into the boss fight and be like, if it's so massive and so powerful in relation to how small you are, you can't parry or block the attacks, and you have to dodge, which would be a cool way to incorporate dashing into a boss fight properly. And so, as it, like, pecks the arena, it slowly breaks apart, and you have to dodge away instead of parrying. And then it could have, like, so much health, you don't even give it a health bar for the first couple phases. And so, like the Infected Broodmother in New Game Plus, there was no real expectation to be able to beat it in, like, New Game 10. You were never supposed to do that. Oh, hi. I do not want to deal with an infused creature at the moment. People still beat it in New Game 10. War mode even. Sidinki is just absurd. That guy, like, mad respect to that guy for doing that. That's insane. But like the infected broodmother was never intended to be beaten at a high New Game Plus, the crow could be, and like any radiance was never intended to be beaten. People would still beat it. Gamers find a way. It would be a very, very cool boss, but it also wouldn't really make sense in the game. So, I mean, I guess it makes even less sense than the Newcastle Big Boy, which is fair, but it'd still be cool to see. And then you get like more crow feathers than you'll ever need or use for the reward, and then maybe like some sort of crow claw, like a toe of the crow, that rhymed, that like does smashing and slashing damage. Would be interesting. And also more weapons that do combo damages, that like 2 different types of damage at once, because as far as I know, the only weapon in Grounded 1 that does that is the Scythe of the Blossoms, which I've never used, and I don't see many people using. It doesn't seem to be like incredibly good. It's still a boss weapon though, so it is pretty good. It's just not like the best. So it could be interesting to have more weapons that do combo damages. I also saw people talking about they might reuse the scrapped earwig enemy that had its own combo damage weapon, which was like slashing and stabbing, I think, was it? Slashing and stabbing, I think. Other content that could be cool is the silverfish, which was supposed to go underneath the shed, and that also had a full model and animations, and was scrapped last minute like the lizard was. And so that could also be very cool to see in Grounded 2 is more scrapped content from Grounded 1 that they're bringing into it. Also, a potential for like a tier 3 shield. Also, I've heard, sorry for being so all over the place today. I've just got a lot of things to get through. There's potential for, there was supposed to be tier 4 content. By the looks of it, from people looking through like game files, there was potential for them to add tier 4 weapons and armor and stuff, and it was for the most part scrapped until they added it in as infused weapons. But even then, there's like not a lot of variety between them, and so it would be cool to see in Grounded 2 like end game content is actually tier 4, and then maybe if they do New Game Plus in Grounded 2 like they did for Grounded 1, that would be very interesting. They could maybe even do like tier 5 for infused weapons, and then save tier 4 for like end game like boss drop items and everything like that, which would be very cool. I'd love to see that. What was I talking about before? I got completely sidetracked. So
this area is too hot for me.
Hang on, give me a second. My brain is recovering. The earwigs and silverfish got cut, and then I got very sidetracked. I apologize. Ah, snails. Right. So, snail shell potential for like a tier 4 shield, which is like, because snail shells are absurdly durable in relation to other insects. So if you fight like a big snail, you could use its shell to like make a really, really tough. Damn, I missed that. To make a really tough shield, and maybe some like super armor that could do like almost like Turtle Master does in Minecraft, which gives you, it makes you almost invincible. But hey, there's a milk molar up here that I missed. I do have that one on this world. Okay, that's really annoying if I'm being entirely honest. Anyway, like Turtle Master does for Minecraft, it could be like it's makes you almost invincible, but you almost can't move at all. It would be a cool concept. Hard to apply though in game, because you could just face tank everything and stand still. That's gonna suck to get to. I'm honestly contemplating if I even want to try to get there, because I have almost all the upgrades for this New Game Plus, and all the other upgrades are like very minor. So I might not even bother with that one, if I'm being entirely honest. Some other things is like the lizard had a cut like lizard helmet, which would be really cool, like using scales. There could also be even another sort of environmental hazard, like the koi fish of the snake, which like you can't even fight it, but it's like you can almost like the sandworms in Dune. It would be applied like that, and so it's just an environmental hazard that you have to avoid. And you see like the grass moving in the distance, and you know, I gotta run. I gotta get away from that. It'd be very cool, but also terrifying. A lot of the ideas I've seen circulating around would be horrifying in actual application, like trapdoor spider and everything, scorpion, snake. A lot of it would be really scary. So there is a reason why Grounded did get the horror tag on Steam. The poor arachnophobes just crying in the corner. That's all I have on my note sheet, and I actually just spoke for a lot longer than I intended to. Spoke about a bunch of stuff that wasn't on my note sheet, so I'm glad I was able to ad-lib that. If you have any more ideas on what could be a cool concept for Grounded 2, what could be an interesting boss, say, make sure you leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to try and hit at least 200, maybe even 300 subscribers before Grounded 2 comes out. And I'll see you in the next one. See ya.